Got a question. I got a question for you. How can one person, or how can we as people, stand tall if pride comes before a fall? How do we expect to be with people if we feel like we're above them? You know what I'm talking about with this pride thing, especially us as guys. Guys, we have a competitive nature. We want to be the best in things. We want to be able to achieve and be successful. But there's a thin line where we can put ourselves above other people because we're in a competition. It has to be somebody who's first, right? There has to be somebody who's better than other people. It doesn't have to be us. If we're called to serve people and to work amongst people and be a team player, it's really hard for us to do that if we're putting pride, if we're puffing ourselves up, if we are feeling like I'm on a pedestal and I'm looking down at people like, you need to get yourself together. I got this going on. You know how we can feel. We can feel that way when things are going really good, but then when things are going bad, it may cause for us to look at ourselves, or it may bring us back down to earth. We're on that pedestal until the stem gets chopped. It gets pruned where God's like, let me bring you back down to earth here. You are one of my children. I have this plan for you. I want you to do this for me. But if you're way up here above people, people can't even see you because you're so high up. God gives grace to the humble, but he opposes the proud. And I said that backwards because in the book of James it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James 4:6. So if we think about that, there's benefits to us being humble, but humility, if we think about the word humiliation, it's almost a derogatory, or not almost, it is a derogatory term that we use in our society. But is humble really a bad thing? If you think about humility, humility is the opposite of pride. Pride is, I think I'm better than you. Humility is, I think that I have something to do to serve you. I have something to give to you. I can give to you because I'm not really thinking of myself as better than you. I think that I'm putting up almost your interests before my own. That's what we're doing as servants, as leaders. Leaders serve. As a leader, never stop serving, because if your strength as a leader lies in your ability to serve. And we can't serve if we're prideful. We're too high. We're too high and mighty. I don't serve people. People serve me. You know the attitude we can get in those moments. But it's time for us to put that pride to the side. And it's time for us to realize that we don't have it all together. It's time for us to understand that, there's certain things that I may not know. I don't know everything. Do you know everything? Let me just ask the honest question. Do you know everything? I don't know everything. And I know that the people around me have been placed around me for a particular purpose. And there's some things that I can't do that they can do. And vice versa. There's certain things that I can do that they can't do. But that's how we learn. But we cut off ourselves from learning and growing and developing when we have this thing called pride, and the pride can be put to the side because it feels so good. It makes me feel great. It makes me feel like somebody. But everybody is somebody. Everybody who is a child of God is somebody. He fearfully and wonderfully made us. Before we were formed in our mother's womb, he knew us. He has a purpose for us. He knows the plans that he has for us. A plan to prosper us and not harm us, to give us a future and a hope. That is what the Word of God says about us. We know what the Word of God says about us. But have we been brainwashed? Have we been hypnotized by the world that's telling us something that's completely the opposite? That we have to know what we have for us, and that we are high and mighty, and we are making ourselves to be XYZ? How's that working for us? If we're going with what the world's saying versus what the Word is saying, it's time to make that choice. It's a tough one, Sometimes it can be very difficult, but nevertheless, it's a choice we have to make. Will the pride puff us up, where God's going to oppose what we're doing? Or will we get grace by being humble, lowering ourselves, saying, you know what, it isn't all about me. How can I help somebody else? I have something I can share with someone. You see the difference? There's clarity the lower and the closer you are to a situation. When you're further away, you lose perspective. So let's gain perspective by being humble and stop puffing ourselves up with pride and having our shoulders big and square and round. You can't help anybody puffed up, but if you lower yourself, humble yourself, you can give grace and receive grace.